going to be exploring the 5 stages of spiritual awakening, offering you insight, helping you identify, what stage you might be in. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Dana. I'm a spiritual energy healer and psychic, helping bring information to you to make you feel more comforted in your transition of understanding that you truly are a creator of your experience and how to begin healing your energy and consciously manifesting your reality. So if you like videos like this, make sure to like it and subscribe so you see more of these videos more often and that other people like yourself who have interest in this video can see it as well. So stage 1 is unconsciousness. So at this initial stage in the spiritual awakening journey, we are so deeply involved in our ego. First and foremost, there's nothing wrong with your ego. We need the ego to be in this human form. Okay, our ego is a spiritual tool to help us evolve. But when you're trapped in this stage and in this ego, your emotions, your beliefs, your perceptions about who you are, you're extremely tied to them. Okay, and again, there's nothing wrong with the ego. We just don't want to let the ego drive the bus the whole route of our journey. Okay, so in this particular point, you are still trapped in your ego, which means we have very little room for separation because we're so tightly gripped to this idea of who we are. In this particular stage, you may find yourself reacting mostly to life rather than creating it and shaping it yourself. Your sense of self-control is so limited. It leads to like defensiveness, anger, irritability. You're really on this wheel of low and negative emotions majority of the time. You don't even have the perception yet that you could actually create and mold your own reality. You really think that your life is like predetermined by a bunch of circumstances, leaving you with every time you experience something negative or a trauma, this reinforces the lack of control that you have for your personal development. You have this personal narrative that life is happening to you, then you actually are the one creating your experience. In this stage, you're looking through life through a lens, through this filtered lens of your own experiences and projections. This lack of clarity really hinders your understanding of what others might be perceiving and viewing and feeling. Spiritual awakening begins with this one realization, okay? Acknowledging the need to break free from the unconscious patterns and explore the deeper layers of existence. Okay, so if you're in stage 1, you're at the starting point of the evolution of understanding the greater awareness of yourself and your connection to the world and as your human experience, because there's so much beyond what you can perceive currently in the stage of unconsciousness. So you are at the door front. So if you relate with this right now for where you are right now in your journey, then you're in stage 1. So moving on to stage 2. So the stage 2 of spiritual awakening is the ego death. I'll give you the characteristics of what you might be experiencing if you're currently in this stage. Ego death is when you go through like a very profound breakdown of the subjective self, the things that shapes your identity and your perceptions of yourself. This is where you gain a broader view of your sense of self. You're not so limited to it. You start dismantling all the labels that we're given with sex, gender, and race. You don't really identify with specific labels anymore. You are identifying yourself through your true self. This is where you really start identifying your beliefs, what you were told to believe. But do I really truly believe that? What are my own beliefs? When you start digging into your own beliefs and disregarding what you were told to believe, that's a part of ego death. During this process, you get to a realization that your ego is really just this story, this energetic story within you that has molded over time about who you are and why your life is the way it is. And when you start analyzing this and realizing that this is just past conditioning and past programming and based on your experiences, you arise from that and you start creating anew. So in turn, it's the death of that view of yourself, that portion of that ego, because you're now starting to view things quite differently. You begin seeing yourself at a higher point of view. It's almost like you're looking at yourself through a third-party perspective, like the fly on the wall looking down at you, looking at your life and how you're determining it. Now you're outside of that. You understand that you are the one who's actually created that. And if something no longer serves you, now you want to create something else. So if that's that point in your life where you've analyzed a certain aspect about how you were viewing life, and now you're wanting to view it in a completely different way and you've been working on it, that's this ego death stage. You start to comprehend that you're not these stories, these beliefs and perceptions anymore. You're not them. They are not you. You are separate from them. So this disillusion to that is now dissipating. And now you have more space. You have more energy within you to create something that is more in alignment with who you truly are. So what actually really emerges from all of this is that the ego death brings forth an awareness of your observer self. So you're now observing yourself in a way that you never have before. You start to identify that your ego is really a construct that was formed by societal conditioning, past generational conditioning, your personal experiences, and learned behaviors. So in this stage, you have a huge, profound shift and opportunity to start digging deeper into the understanding of your true self. Now, there's still going to be times where you're in your ego because we need our ego to spiritually evolve, but you're going to be more self-aware of the illusion of it now. When you get caught up in these emotions and you have this self-awareness and you're like, okay, I'm feeling these emotions, and I'm feeling them because of this reasoning. Is that reasoning even true? Where did I pick this up from? This is not mine. I don't choose to believe in that. And then you begin changing and more identifying with your authentic self, your authenticity, like who you were before you started gaining all this past conditioning and programming, which now brings us into the third stage of awakening, which is the search. This is where one begins to move beyond the ego death. You find yourself less and less having to battle with the idea of being stuck in this illusion of the ego, and you take yourself outside of that. So you're now beyond this stage. Now you're in the stage of searching for the answer, the truth. You're searching for this clarity, this knowing. You are seeking this truth on a deep subconscious level that's calling you, because now that you've moved a little bit more out of the ego and understand that you're going to be in and out of the ego, so you've moved beyond the ego death, you're more consciously aware, okay, of the consciousness that you are, but now you seek answers. So now you're embarking on this journey of self-discovery through spiritual literature. You follow other spiritual teachers. So whether you're watching YouTube videos or you feel called to read this book. So a lot of people will maybe start watching Abraham Hicks, Wayne Dyer. You hear people tuning into Bashar. So you're going to start tuning into these different materials that are going to help you soul search. You know, like The Secret, the Law of Attraction. You're going to be feeling called to this specific area to study more. This is where you, like the self-help junkie comes out in you, because you're so developed in getting to really seek the truth about things. At this point, you're really seeking to know the truth about you. You know, why you were born. Why did you choose to come here? And the meaning of life and the true nature of God, source, energy, and the universe. At this stage, you find so much comfort in spiritual teachings that really resonate with your newfound evolution of awareness. You'll start indulging in practices like meditation, breath work, channeling, you know, also energy work like Reiki and other healing modalities out there. You're really drawn to begin learning them. You have this urge to connect with the higher understanding of yourself, which now leads us into stage 4, where we begin to emerge with our authentic self. This stage can actually be one of the most uncomfortable stages to be embarking on during your spiritual journey, because a lot of the time you are now trying to emerge with your authentic self. So a lot of people around you that you know may not be at this stage yet. And so you find it very difficult to kind of fake it anymore. You can't be in a certain mindset that everybody else has. So you find yourself struggling with, speaking your authentic truth. You're feeling it, but you're hearing how people are seeing and feeling the world, not really resonating with societal form anymore. Like a lot of things that used to resonate don't resonate anymore. And so this is why self-isolation at this point is very important, or you'll find that you really want to isolate yourself because your views and what you're perceiving and what you're feeling is like really different than everybody else around you at this point, right? It's nice when we go through these awakenings together with somebody, but usually on our journey, we are alone in it. It feels like we're alone. We're actually never truly alone. Our guides, our spirits, our past loved ones, all that energy is with us, supporting us. We just literally need to ask for a hand during this time. But this is why it's really good when you are alone. It is kind of required because you'll have this push and pull, like getting into your ego self again, right? And that you're emerging to your authentic self. And there's this push and pull. So if you're with everybody who's still within their ego and you're here trying to be your authentic self, it feels really uncomfortable. And so when you do this process alone, it's still a lot of deep inner work, but it's better off done alone because you're not really feeling judged. You don't have to really feel judged or be in comparison of what others are thinking about you and taking on those perceptions and views during this process. So you may find yourself at this point where a lot of people are no longer resonating with you. They're vibrating out of your experience, okay? And now you're in this period of isolation where you're getting to emerge with your authentic self. During this stage, you're getting this sense of feeling of what truly now aligns with your inner self. Okay, so any unbalanced relationships, even your job, like your occupations that don't resonate with this newfound energy and vibration and frequency that you're on, and it's no longer serving you to be in this specific relationship or this group of friends or this job. So you find yourself detaching from it or leaving it, or it's vibrating out of your experience. I feel like a lot of you tuning into this podcast right now are in this stage. You start having really strong feelings that you can't suppress anymore. An increasing inability to suppress your true inner voice at this point. You have this unwillingness to compromise with your genuine desires of your newfound identification of your authentic self. So at this point in the journey, you could have a lot of upheaval, more like the Tower card in your experience. Like things have to start deconstructing around you in order to make space for what will be, because you're moving energies and frequencies. So you could even start having ascension symptoms because your frequency is literally changing when you start self-identifying with your authentic self. So not only are you now having these external shifts, so all these things are, shifting in and out of your energy field and your reality. So there's a lot going on externally that is shifting around you because of the energies and vibrations that are shifting. But what's also an upheaval for you and more turmoil internally is that your traumas, your old wounds, they're surfacing right now. They're surfacing for a purpose. So you can acknowledge them, understand them, but also now release them. It is quite the emotional roller coaster during this purging process. So take it easy on yourself, because a lot of the times in this stage, you might be beating yourself up, right? But you shouldn't, because the fact that it's resurfacing for you is just a reminder that it's still within you energetically, and this is your time to release that by acknowledging it, understanding it no longer serves you, and then release it. After doing this for some time, you might experience like a heightened sense of intuition now. You may have lucid dreams, premonitions even. and other multi-dimensional experiences will start happening when you're in this stage. Now, for some of us, like myself, I've always had a heightened intuition, and I've always had lucid dreams and premonitions and things like that of that nature, those multi-dimensional experiences. But if you have never and you're in this stage, you'll start experiencing them now for sure. Or if you've always experienced them, they'll just be very heightened and enhanced in this stage. So all in all, this stage is about experiencing the deeper levels of your authentic self. You're really tuning yourself to understanding the deeper levels of you and the world around you. Which brings us now into our fifth and final stage here of a spiritual awakening, which is the life of alignment. This is where you're understanding your greater consciousness, your higher self. You understand when you dip into your ego. So you've already had your ego death, but the ego is always going to be there. It's not going to leave us till we're out of our physical body. But now in your life, you're gaining a deeper awareness of the true essence of the creative power that you have, and that the external things that have already been manifested in your outer world don't no longer have to take you out of alignment with you, God, source energy, that essence, that higher love frequency, that authentic frequency. It is staying in your lane of this energy and understanding that you're going to be in and out of this energy, okay? But ultimately, we are now connecting on a whole three Trinity, the mind, body, and spirit. We're connecting on all three levels. You begin having a very passionate acceptance for others' limitations and your own previously that you may still be working through, okay? So you have this deep understanding now, okay, that a person can only perceive through their stage and their energy and their frequency. And so if someone's perceiving you in a negative way, it no longer is really affecting you at this point, because you understand they're only perceiving at their level of consciousness. Now have this natural flow for compassion. Forgiveness is more easier in this stage, because you understand that when you're holding this negative charge of what happened, somebody said something went a certain way, it's actually pulling you back down into your ego self. It is lowering your vibrations and your frequencies. And so you are more ready to be compassionate about these situations and allow them to be and forgive them. Because again, forgiveness is for you, because when you're not holding on to these things, your consciousness can raise higher. At this point, it's like you're becoming the supportive parent that you needed as a child that you may have not had. You're nurturing yourself to this self-love, to this self-unconditional love of not needing to be a certain way or have certain things to feel of value or worthy or enough in your life. You're giving yourself the unconditional love that you truly need. You're also never been more connected to nature, animals, the trees, the air outside. You're understanding that we're all interconnected. And you're also beginning to accept the dark phases of your life, because they've molded you into the person who you've become today. If this video resonates with you, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you see more videos like this more often, and share it with somebody that you feel would appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, watching the video. I'd love to hear from you. Comment below and let me know which stage resonated for where you are at in your journey right now. If you have not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button now, and make sure to grab my free workbook that you can through the link below for modalities and techniques that you can use to begin aligning and healing your energy, ascending to your higher consciousness, and consciously manifesting your reality. I'll see you in the next video.